Everyone knows Jennifer Aniston as Hollywood's Golden Girl. The smile, the charm, the effortless calm. But behind that famous laugh lies a story most people have never heard. A childhood caught in the middle of a war that had nothing to do with her. In a rare and emotional confession, the Friends star finally revealed the truth about her parents' bitter divorce. A war so toxic, she says she was used as a pawn in their fight to hurt each other. For decades, Jennifer kept this pain hidden behind that iconic smile. But now she's opening up, exposing the heartbreak, the betrayal, and the lifelong scars that shaped one of Hollywood's most beloved faces. Because while the world fell in love with her on screen, few ever knew the chaos she survived off it. And what she admitted in her latest interview left fans stunned. Jennifer Aniston was born into Hollywood royalty, the daughter of soap opera legend John Aniston and actress Nancy Dow. From the outside, it looked like a dream. Two beautiful stars, one big house, and a little girl who had no idea her parents' world was about to crumble. Behind the glitz, their marriage was quietly falling apart. Arguments turned into cold silences, and by the time Jennifer was just 9 years old, the fighting stopped only because the marriage did too. In 1980, after 15 years together, John and Nancy's divorce shattered the illusion of their perfect family. Jennifer later described that time as pure chaos, not because of what was said, but because of how it felt. Their divorce was not amicable in any way, shape, or form, she admitted, and I was just a pawn. Imagine being 9 and realizing your parents were more focused on hurting each other than protecting you. That kind of heartbreak doesn't fade. It just hides under layers of laughter. And Jennifer had plenty of that. She said both her parents were ridiculously funny people. And despite the turmoil, she grew up surrounded by humor. But the jokes couldn't drown out the pain. What Jennifer learned during those years would shape every relationship that came after. And yet, even through the chaos, one parent managed to stay close, the one who would later become her biggest supporter. But that bond came with its own heartbreak. For Jennifer, her father, John Aniston, became the one steady force in a world that kept falling apart. He was calm, collected, and fiercely private, the complete opposite of the Hollywood chaos swirling around them. But that calm came at a price. When her parents split, John left the family home. For years, Jennifer struggled to understand why. She once said it felt like he just disappeared. One day he was there, the next he wasn't. That silence cut deep, leaving questions that only adulthood could answer. Over time, though, Jennifer began to see a different side of her father. The man who once walked away returned, slowly, quietly, and with deep regret. Their bond began to heal, not through grand gestures, but through understanding. John went on to become a daytime TV icon, playing Victor Kiriakis on Days of Our Lives for nearly 4 decades. Jennifer would later call him a true professional and a gentle soul, revealing how much she'd come to admire his resilience. When he received his Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmys in 2022, Jennifer didn't just attend, she presented it herself. Her voice trembled as she said, "This is truly a special moment for me." It wasn't just a tribute to a legend. It was a daughter honoring the man she'd finally forgiven. But while one parent's relationship was healed with time, the other would remain far more complicated and far more painful. Because Jennifer's connection with her mother was a story Hollywood never saw coming. If Jennifer found quiet strength in her father, her relationship with her mother, Nancy Dow, was the complete opposite, loud, critical, and deeply painful. Nancy was a model and actress, obsessed with beauty and perfection. To the outside world, she was glamorous. But inside their home, that obsession became a wall between her and her daughter. Jennifer later admitted, she was all about presentation, what she looked like, what I looked like. I did not come out the model child she'd hoped for. Those words cut deeper than they sound, because behind them is a little girl who spent her entire childhood trying to be seen, trying to be good enough, and never quite getting there. Jennifer said she grew up constantly aware that her mother's approval depended on appearances, the right smile, the perfect look, the flawless image. But no matter what she did, it was never enough. That constant pressure turned into quiet resentment, a tension that followed her well into adulthood. It wasn't just a strained bond, it was emotional distance that hardened over time. And just when Jennifer thought it couldn't get worse, her mother did something that broke their relationship completely. What Nancy did next would become one of the most painful betrayals of Jennifer's life. Just when Jennifer thought the tension with her mother couldn't get any worse, it did, in the most public way possible. In 1999, Nancy Dow released a memoir titled From Mother and Daughter to Friends. But for Jennifer, it wasn't a story about healing. It was a wound reopened for the world to see. The book shared personal details about their strained relationship, exposing private moments Jennifer had never wanted anyone to read. For a woman who'd spent her life protecting her privacy, it felt like betrayal. Jennifer later admitted she cut off all contact with her mother after the book came out. The pain was so deep that when she married Brad Pitt in 2000, she told Diane Sawyer, "I never thought my mom would not know my husband." To the world, Jennifer was living every girl's dream, a hit TV show, Hollywood fame, a fairy tale marriage. But behind closed doors, she was grieving a living mother who had chosen publicity over peace. And yet, even that heartbreak didn't last forever, because years later, life forced them back into each other's orbit. And this time, the ending was very different. What happened next would test Jennifer's capacity to forgive and reveal just how much she'd truly grown. For years, Jennifer Aniston carried the weight of that broken bond. The anger, the resentment, the silence. But time has a way of softening even the sharpest pain. When Nancy Dow's health began to decline, Jennifer made a choice that surprised everyone. She reached out. After years of no contact, the two quietly reconciled just before Nancy's passing in 2016. There were no press releases, no interviews, no dramatic reunion. Just two women, finally putting down the weapons they'd carried for decades. In her 2022 Allure interview, Jennifer spoke with a calm honesty that showed how far she'd come. "I forgave my mom," she said. "It's important. It's toxic to have that resentment, that anger. I learned that by watching my mom never let go of it. I remember saying, 'Thank you for showing me what never to be.'" That single line says everything. The little girl who once craved her mother's approval had grown into a woman strong enough to release the pain and learn from it. It wasn't about pretending the past never happened. It was about freeing herself from it. Because forgiveness, for Jennifer, wasn't weakness. It was survival. And that same resilience would shape how she handled the rest of her family, including a side of her life most people barely know about. Jennifer Aniston's story doesn't end with forgiveness. It stretches across two families, two worlds, and a lifetime of learning how to hold them both together. After her parents' bitter split, their lives went in completely different directions. Her father, John Aniston, found love again, marrying actress Sherry Rooney in 1984. Together, they welcomed a son, Jennifer's half-brother Alexander. Her mother, Nancy, never remarried, but she had a son from a previous marriage, John Malick. That made Jennifer the quiet middle, the thread connecting three very different households. It's been said that Jennifer often played the peacemaker, the calm in the storm. Reports claim she maintained quiet relationships with both her brothers, keeping those bonds away from Hollywood's spotlight. She never flaunted her family life. Maybe because she knew what happens when the cameras get too close. Those early years taught her something rare in fame, how to protect what truly matters. Friends say she's fiercely loyal, generous, and quietly supportive, especially when it comes to family. Even after all the heartbreak, she found a way to hold both sides of her story with grace. Because at the end of it all, Jennifer Aniston didn't just survive her family's chaos, she learned how to build her own peace from the wreckage. But her final reflection on that painful past would leave fans speechless. For someone the world sees as effortlessly happy, Jennifer Aniston's real story is one of quiet endurance. Behind the laughter, the beauty, and the fame, she's carried scars that most people never knew existed. In interviews, she said that growing up in a destabilized and unsafe home taught her how to adapt, how to keep smiling, even when everything around her was falling apart. That skill became her armor. It helped her survive the chaos, the gossip, the heartbreaks that came later in Hollywood. But what makes Jennifer's story powerful isn't just survival, it's transformation. She took the pain of her parents' divorce, the rejection from her mother, the years of silence, and turned it into empathy, humor, and strength. She's living proof that broken beginnings don't have to define how the story ends. Today, when fans see her light up a room, they're not just seeing a celebrity, they're seeing a woman who learned to rise above everything that tried to break her. Because sometimes the brightest smiles are born from the darkest memories.